It all went down in the middle of a packed hallway. A white kid's hand was locked tight around a black girl's throat, pinning her hard against the row of lockers while dozens of students froze like statues. Some gasped, a few lifted their phones to record, but not one person stepped in to stop it. That awful scene would mark Maya Carter's first week at Lincoln High, a moment of pure cruelty that no one dared to challenge. What the bully didn't realize, though, was that the girl's father was only a few steps away. And when he showed up, that hallway humiliation would turn into a brutal life lesson carved right in front of the whole school. But the day hadn't started with violence. It began with Maya hurrying down the hall, trying to beat the bell. When it rang, the corridors of Lincoln High erupted into chaos, lockers slammed like gunfire, sneakers squeaked across the floors, and voices bounced off the walls as students rushed to their next class. In the middle of all that noise moved Maya Carter, 16 years old, new to the school, her backpack digging into her shoulders and her hands full of binders. She was doing her best to stay focused, to blend in, to survive her first week without drawing too much attention. Being the new girl was hard enough, but being one of the few black students in a mostly white school made every whisper behind her back sting twice as much. She stopped at her locker and carefully slid her books inside, whispering a quiet reminder to herself, just 1 week down, Maya. You've got this. But what she didn't know was that someone had already decided to make her life hell. Tyler Brooks. Tall, broad, a senior who'd been held back a year and liked to throw his weight around. His dad sat on the city council, and Tyler used that last name like a shield, and a weapon. Teachers tended to look the other way when he swaggered through the halls. He was used to control, to fear, to putting people in their place. And to him, Maya was an easy target. Check her out, one of his buddies muttered with a smirk. Walking around like she owns the place. Tyler's lip curled. She thinks she's better than us. Let's see how she feels when she can't breathe. His friends laughed as he marched across the hall, his heavy boots thudding against the tile. Maya didn't even notice, she was too busy sorting through her chemistry notes, trying to stay ahead. Then bang! Her locker slammed shut just inches from her hand. She jerked back, startled, her eyes snapping up. Tyler towered over her, a grin stretched wide across his pale face. "What's up, princess?" he sneered. Too busy to say hi to the real king of this school. Maya straightened, her stomach twisting. "Move, Tyler. I don't have time for your games." "Oh, this isn't a game," he said, his palms slamming against the locker right beside her head. Students nearby froze. A few whispered. Others hesitated, phones half raised. Nobody stepped in. "You don't belong here," Tyler hissed. "Not unless I say so." Maya tried to back up, but there was nowhere to go. His grin widened, cruelty flashing in his eyes, and then, before she could react, his hand shot forward. Not at the locker. Not near her shoulder. Straight for her throat. His pale fingers clamped down, cutting off her air in an instant. The sound of metal lockers rang out as her back hit them hard. Her eyes went wide, her mouth opened to scream, but only a strangled rasp came out. Gasps rippled through the hallway. "He's choking her," someone shouted, their voice cracking with panic. Have you ever seen something so cruel that it felt like the whole room stopped breathing? What would you do if it were your child pinned and gasping against those lockers? Before we go further, what city are you watching from right now? Drop it in the comments below. And if you believe in standing up to bullies and racists wherever they show up, hit that like button and subscribe to Racism Exposed, because respect will always be stronger than fear. Maya clawed at Tyler's arm, her nails digging deep, desperate to break free. But he only tightened his grip, his knuckles turning white as he pressed harder. Her binders crashed to the floor, papers fluttering everywhere like scattered feathers. The hallway that had been roaring with noise seconds earlier fell deathly silent, except for the sound of her shoes scraping against the tiles as her legs kicked, searching for solid ground. Her face flushed red, then drained of color. Her vision blurred, her body trembling as every breath slipped further away. Tyler leaned closer, his breath hot against her ear. "Not so tough now, huh? Say it. Say you're nothing." Students stood frozen in place. Some recorded with shaking hands, others turned away, guilt flashing in their eyes, but nobody moved. Maya's knees buckled, her body slumping against the lockers as her strength faded fast. Down the hallway, the sound of slow, heavy footsteps began to echo, measured, steady, deliberate. Students turned their heads instinctively as the crowd split apart like water, whispers racing through the air before anyone even saw who it was. A tall black man in a sharp black suit appeared, broad-shouldered and composed, his presence rolling through the hallway like a storm on the horizon. He wasn't supposed to be there, not at that moment, not in that chaos, but there he was, stepping calmly into the ring of stunned students, a small notebook clutched in one hand. That morning, Maya hadn't heard him calling out when she rushed into school, so her father, Caleb Carter, decided to follow and drop it off himself. He never imagined he'd walk straight into this nightmare. His jaw tightened, his eyes narrowing like a man bracing for impact as he took in the sight before him, his daughter pinned to the lockers, a white boy's hand locked around her throat. The entire hallway fell silent, every whisper swallowed by the tension. Then came Caleb's voice, low, steady, and powerful enough to slice through the air like a blade. "Take your hands off my daughter." Tyler froze for half a second at the sound. His grip faltered just enough for Maya to suck in a ragged breath. Then, slowly, he turned his head toward the man standing a few feet away. His eyes narrowed, and a forced laugh slipped out, sharp, arrogant, and covering the flicker of fear he didn't want anyone to see. "Oh, look at this," he scoffed. "What are you supposed to be? The janitor? Figures. Guess that's the only job you people can get." The sneer stretched across his face as he tightened his hold on Maya's throat again. "Better stick to sweeping floors, old man, before you get hurt. This is between me and her." Gasps swept through the hallway as more phones came up, recording every second. But Caleb Carter didn't so much as blink. When he spoke, his voice was calm, steady as stone, but heavy enough to make everyone around him feel it. "You've got 5 seconds to let go of my daughter," he said evenly. "If you don't, I'll take your hands off her myself." Maya's eyes widened. Relief flickered through her fear even as Tyler barked out another mocking laugh. "Your daughter? Oh, this is too perfect." He yanked her closer until her back hit the metal again, his face just inches from hers. "What's she gonna do? Call daddy every time someone puts her in her place?" Caleb took one slow step forward. The crowd instinctively stepped back, widening the circle around them. "This isn't a discussion, son," he said, his tone calm but final. "This is your last warning." For a split second, Tyler's smirk faltered, but pride, and the weight of 100 watching eyes, forced it back into place. He shoved Maya hard into the lockers, making her gasp, before finally letting her stumble free. Then he squared his shoulders, fists clenched. "You don't scare me," he spat. "I'll drop you right here in front of everybody. Then we'll see who's really in charge." Caleb tilted his head slightly, unreadable. "Then you've already lost." Those 5 words hit harder than any punch could. The crowd went silent. Every phone was raised, the tension thick enough to feel. Tyler's pride snapped into rage. With a furious shout, he lunged forward, swinging wildly. Snap! Caleb's hand shot up and caught the punch midair, stopping it cold. The hallway erupted in gasps. Before Tyler could even pull back, Caleb twisted sharply, his wrist bending in the wrong direction. Tyler howled, his knees buckling, but Caleb didn't release him. He pivoted smoothly, driving his elbow into Tyler's chest with clean, practiced precision. The hit landed hard, echoing down the lockers like a drumbeat. Tyler crumpled, coughing, his body folding to his knees. Caleb didn't raise his voice. He didn't taunt him. He just stood there, tall, still, unshakable. "You thought choking a girl made you powerful," he said, his voice low and clear enough for every phone mic to pick up. "Let me show you what real strength looks like." The hallway erupted, some students whispering, some cheering, others too stunned to speak. Maya pressed back against the lockers, clutching her chest as her breathing steadied. Tyler, red-faced and humiliated, gasped for air on the floor, trying to push himself up again. But Caleb was already there, waiting. Tyler staggered to his feet, one hand clutching his chest. His face was flushed with rage, a thin line of blood trailing from the corner of his mouth. But his pride burned hotter than the pain. "You think that was something?" he spat, his voice cracking under the weight of humiliation. "You got lucky," Tyler spat, his voice shaking with fury. "I'm not done yet." Around him, his friends started shifting nervously at the edge of the crowd. A few lowered their phones, glancing at each other with uneasy expressions. Someone whispered, "He should stop, he's just making it worse." But Tyler, blinded by arrogance and pride, didn't hear them, or didn't care. He charged again, rage boiling over. This time, his punch sliced through the air, aiming straight for Caleb's jaw. But Caleb moved like water, smooth, precise, completely in control. With one swift motion, he sidestepped the swing and caught the back of Tyler's neck in his hand. Then, with a single powerful movement, Caleb slammed him into the lockers. The impact echoed like thunder through the hallway, the sound bouncing off the walls. Students gasped, some even cheered. Caleb leaned close, his voice calm but cutting through the silence like a knife. "Look at you," he said. "All that noise. All that hate. And underneath it? Nothing but weakness." Tyler squirmed, gasping for breath, pinned helplessly against the cold metal. "Get off me," he choked out. Caleb's fist slammed into the locker beside Tyler's head, leaving a deep dent in the metal with a sharp, gut-turning crunch. Tyler flinched hard, the color draining from his face. The arrogance vanished instantly, replaced by pure fear. "Apologize," Caleb growled, his voice low and controlled. Tyler's eyes darted around, to the phone's recording, to the circle of students watching, and finally to Maya, standing free now, trembling but alive. His lips quivered. I'm sorry." Louder. "I'm sorry." Tyler shouted, his voice cracking. "I shouldn't have touched you. I was wrong." Caleb finally released him, and Tyler collapsed onto the floor in a heap, gasping and shaking, his pride shattered in front of everyone. Caleb turned away, his broad frame blocking Maya from the swarm of eyes and cameras. He placed a steady arm around her shoulders, protective and calm. Then, before walking her out, he paused and looked back at the boy still slumped against the lockers. "You think I'm a janitor?" Caleb said, his tone low but firm, every word echoing through the tense silence. He reached into his suit jacket and pulled something out, a badge. The hallway went dead silent. "My name's Caleb Carter," he said evenly. "I'm the chief of police for this precinct." The words cracked through the air like thunder. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Tyler's face turned pale, every drop of color gone. Whatever power his father's name carried meant nothing now. Caleb took a step closer, his gaze sharp and steady. "Let this be a lesson," he said quietly. "Fear doesn't make you strong. Respect does. Learn it, or spend the rest of your life crawling." Then, without another word, he turned and guided Maya down the hall, his arms still around her shoulders. Phones followed their every step, still recording. Tyler Brooks stayed on the floor, broken and humiliated, his reputation crushed in a single morning. If you believe every racist bully deserves to be exposed and humbled, hit that like button and subscribe to Racism Exposed, because justice doesn't whisper in the dark, it roars where everyone can see.